Start off 2015, I'm going to do a Prince of Persia retrospective. This is in hope that there's a new Prince of Persia game this year, and Ubisoft won't fail so much like last year. I want you to picture this. A time when Ubisoft did not pump out a new Assassin's Creed game every year. I know, scary, right? Before Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia was probably one of Ubisoft's biggest franchises. The first Prince of Persia game they made was Sands of Time, released in 2003, and to many, a timeless classic. Sands of Time is a game that I don't remember very well. I have a pretty poor memory, but I remember the next game in the series pretty well. So I don't really know why. We were playing the game kinda went like this. Man, I don't remember this opening cutscene at all. Wait, did the game start? I guess I'm moving around. What the hell is wrong with the graphics? Wow, enabling the fog option can give you this much fog? That's insane. Man, I don't recognize this part of the game at all. Wow, that's sad that he can't make that fall. Even I can't have no problem with that kind of fall. Friends is apparently a hydraulic machine force here. No food or rest necessary. He only needs water. In this game, you play as the prince as you wall run and climb a Zod. The game is narrated by the prince as well as with his sarcastic personality. So when you die, he's like, oh hell no, that shit didn't happen. You might be wondering why the prince is fighting sand zombies. Well, the prince unleashed the sands of time from this hourglass, which mutates people and turns them into monsters. With the dagger of time, the prince must rewind back time to before all this happened.
Is it meant to do this? Alicia Sigataha!
Sands of Time might mostly be a platformer, but there are times when you must fight the sand monsters. A lot, actually. You can block both of your enemies and roll out of the way, but you must absorb the enemy with a dagger while they're down to defeat them. Strangely, the enemy can teleport around to get behind you, which is pretty dumb. You can also use sand powers on the enemies as well, and you can use it as long as there is a white line around the sand tanks. You must kill enemies to be able to use save points in the game. In your journey, you will come across save points because auto-saving wasn't a thing back then. Other than being able to save, you can see a vision of what's coming up so you won't get confused on what you're going to do next, which can be handy. Early in the game, you come across this puzzle to activate all the traps and defenses this place has. Since there's so many simulator games these days, there should be one for this. Persian Defense System Activating Simulator 2015, including Shouting Man in background.
Make sure you pick them up in the right order!
In the old Prince of Persia, traps were deadly and platforming was precise. To recreate this feeling but not make it too difficult, you have the ability to rewind time up to the last 10 seconds. If you don't rewind it right, you're just doing the same thing again, which can be pretty embarrassing. You can only use this a number of times, which is shown to the left as yellow circles. You will refill this by absorbing enemies or finding sand clouds, which can also give you extra sand tanks. Speaking of upgrades, there are health upgrades in the game as well. They are kind of hard to miss, and what happens in them, I'm not so sure.
I have a feeling I'm not in a Zard anymore. Water.
I just assume the prince is insanely high, as the path to it is strangely blocked afterwards. You also get your sword upgrade to break walls like a boss-ish. Here comes the main problem of the game. The camera is your worst enemy. You're always fighting it. I swear, it has a mind of its own and it always tries to screw you over. You could be wall running, but the camera could move around and screw the direction of your jump. When you try to absorb the enemy, but the camera keeps moving around, so you can use a sand power to freeze an enemy instead, or you roll in the wrong direction and take damage. You could keep attacking the wrong enemies around the middle of the game. They really want to give you the group hug of death. Another problem is how clunky the combat can be with the camera getting knocked down. When you get knocked down, you pretty much have to rewind because it's difficult to get back up without getting hit again, resulting in losing half your health. This can get really frustrating. Early in the game, you come across Pharaoh, a companion of sorts. She can fit through cracks that will crush the prince's balls if he tries to, and it will help you achieve
I don't care, you're gonna owe me a hardcore high five where I get to break your hands. Sejuani, no tank. Don't tank.
Here I am. Now pull the lever.
Pulling levers and helping you in combat. Somewhat. If you let her die in combat, the game will not let you rewind time sometimes, which is pretty dumb. You can also kill yourself, and then the prince goes like, oh hell no, she can die.
Ah! Stop!
Ow!
Sorry. Stop!
Wait, she didn't die. I saved her. Let me tell that part again.
You wonder how hard this game is. Well, the platforming aspect isn't very difficult, but the combat can be a huge pain. It's hard to finish the game with such an annoying combat system spurred onto you every section of the way. Thankfully, the level design is good, so the platforming can be a blast. Just when you're enjoying yourself, the camera will slap you to show you that the game is far from perfect. The worst part of the game has to be the part where you lose the dagger. After going through the most annoying memory game in existence.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for you! What the? How in the...
You lose the dagger and get a sword that one-shots enemies. Through this part of the game, you learn how horrible this game would be without the rewinding time mechanics, as this section has the cheapest camera angles, and you pretty much have no control over it, which can be very frustrating. After finishing the game, I can see why I can't remember this game very well. I get almost no emotional reaction while playing it. I don't have much fun playing it, and the climbing can get extremely routine after a few hours. Yeah, that's pretty much what the whole game feels like to me. A routine. There was absolutely no replay value to this game as well, unless you wanted to do the puzzles again with the godforsaken camera. The music in this game is not remarkable. There's rock and Egyptian sounding songs here and there, and that's it, I think. The graphics in this game aged pretty well, in my opinion. The environments look great while you were climbing around them. The game is mostly bug-free, but I did crash once, and one time a bar was missing, so I couldn't get across here. In the end, what really kills the game is this annoying repetitive combat and an absolutely evil camera. But will these fix those problems in the sequel Warrior Within? Find out next time on the Radiant Wanderer Show.